have the pleasure of talking with Liza Ginoza today, who is Chief Judge with the Intermediate Court of Appeals. Glad you could be with us. And thank you for taking the time from a busy day.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I know you have lots of work ahead of you with this appeal process.
Yes, we do.
Could you maybe explain a little bit more about how your court operates and, in the grand scheme of things, how we can understand it better?
My court is the second highest in our state judiciary, and it's one of two appellate courts in our state. So basically, we have two trial court levels, the district court, circuit court. Those are the trial courts. My court is the first level of the appeals. And then if parties, after they get decisions from my court, wish to appeal further, they can take their cases and seek appeal to the Hawaii Supreme Court. And there also are cases that can go directly to the Supreme Court, but they're sort of a limited group of cases. So what I would tell you, I think the big picture is the vast majority of the appeals from the trial courts from throughout the state come up to my court first, and the majority of them are resolved at my court's level.
So the trial courts are where juries happen?
That's correct.
Okay, and your court is reflecting on the decisions?
Yes, we're reviewing a wide variety of types of cases, including cases where there was a jury decision at the circuit court level. That's where the juries are.
So this is a huge responsibility.
Yes, it is.
Did you always want to do this?
I never thought about being a judge for the vast majority of my either growing up or career. And it grew out of an opportunity that I had to, after private practice, work at the Attorney General's office for 5 years under Attorney General Mark Bennett. And as part of that, when vacancies on the courts started opening up, people were approaching me and suggesting that I should think about it. And honestly, I had never thought about it for myself. So I've been speaking about that lately, how it's important for those of us in my position now to reach out to those who may not be thinking about it, because if not for others, I may not have even applied.
With the responsibilities that you have, and growing up in Hawaii, what do you see as the responsibility of communities, in shepherding the change?
Boy, there's a lot of changes. From the court's perspective, I think we try very, very hard to ensure that our decisions consider the impact on the entire community. Some cases, of course, are just related to the parties, but a number of the cases we decide have broad implication. And it's important for us to make our decisions understandable and to safeguard the community as much as possible within the confines of the laws that we're interpreting that are passed by the legislature or that are in our Constitution. So in terms of shepherding the change, we feel a big obligation and duty to faithfully discharge our duty to interpret the laws in a way that hopefully will benefit the community as a whole. And
this Intermediate Court of Appeals came out of a community process.
It did, very much so.
Were you involved in that at all?
My court, ICA for short, was created out of the 1978 Constitutional Convention. So I think I was starting high school at that time, so over 40 years ago. And in the 1978 Constitutional Convention, which delegates from across our community are elected, they decided to, among a number of things that came out of that body, they decided to create the Intermediate Court of Appeals because of the caseload that the Supreme Court was experiencing and the growing caseload that they were experiencing. They decided that they needed a second appellate level. And it got approved by the electorate in 1979. And in 1980, the first group of judges for the Intermediate Court of Appeals were appointed and started the court. And over the course of the years since then, my court has grown first to 4 judges, and now we have 6 judges. And it's a reflection of, I think, the growth in the population as well as the growth in cases that need to be resolved at the appellate level. So we have 6 judges now. We decide our cases in panels of 3.
Well, the fact that you're there as chief judge, and bringing a female perspective as well as a community perspective is much appreciated.
Well, thank you very much.
So just stay healthy.
I'm very privileged to be in this position.
Appreciate you joining us as well on Island Focus as I converse with Liza Ginoza, Chief Judge for the Intermediate Court of Appeals.